Okay, we're live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Chipman. I'm Mayor of the City of Clarence. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this special council meeting to deal with a planning application. Could you please bow your head for the council prayer? Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to vouchsafe thy blessing upon this council. Direct and prosper its deliberations to the advancement of thy glory and the true welfare of the people of the City of Clarence. Amen. I'd also like to acknowledge the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting on tonight. I pay respect to elders past and present and recognise their continuing spiritual commitment to the land. This meeting is being conducted on Teams and broadcast live on YouTube, and what is said at this meeting is not protected by privilege, and there is a link to the council papers on our council's website. One short deputation has been received from the proponent, and that will be read to us by the General Manager at the appropriate stage of the meeting, which I will now declare open and note that we have no apologies. And although I am expecting Alderman Edmonds to join us very shortly. Are there any declarations of interest? Thank you. Moving to the planning application, and we are now sitting as a planning authority. It's a development application at 281 Cambridge Road, 19 Darry Street, Mornington, and 275 Cambridge Road, Warrane, for demolition, alterations and additions to the existing aged care facility. The recommendation is for approval. Could I have a move and a seconder, please? Moved Alderman
So
Pearce. Second Alderman Chong. We are getting an echo coming through, so if you're not speaking, could you please press the mute button? Thank you. Alderman Pearce.
Thank you. Which hopefully everyone will support. I mean, more spaces for existing aged care facility is fantastic. It's in the right place. There's been no objection, so I cannot see any reason why we wouldn't give this full support.
Thank you. Alderman Chong.
Just echo Alderman Pear's comments. We all recognise the need for these facilities as the population ages. It's in a great location, very convenient for quite a lot of the population. Seek my colleagues' support.
Thank you. Other speakers?
May I interrupt, Mayor? I have the deputation from the proponent to read.
That's good timing. Thank you, General Manager.
Thank you. The deputation we've received is from Tiernan Kimber on behalf of the applicants, Uniting Age Well. The deputation reads as follows. Uniting Age Well has a long history in providing services to seniors in the Mornington-Clarence area. The Lillian Martin site at 281 Cambridge Road has grown and expanded over 60 years. Uniting Age Well has a mission to continue providing excellent aged care services to the community. Improving the building infrastructure is a key to maintaining this service and keeping in line with current regulations and expectations. The federal government awarded Uniting Age Well 23 ACAR bed licences to develop the Lillian Martin site. This has provided the opportunity to develop a broader strategy of upgrading the services at the site. It also enables the rebuilding of a number of beds that are not meeting current requirements. This has resulted in the creation of 61 new beds and a new entry and welcoming area for the facility. There will also be improved car parking and landscaping. Uniting Well are investing approximately $20 million in making these improvements to better serve the local community. That concludes the deputations.
Thank you. Alderman James, you indicated you wanted to speak.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And look, yes, it's a great application, but I think we probably need to mention to the listeners that the reason why it's coming to council is because it doesn't meet one of the zones or codes as with regard to the Road and Railway Assets Code, which basically refers to on page 10, and I quote, proposal would result in an increase of more than 20% to vehicular traffic to and from the site using the existing vehicle crossover onto Cambridge Road. So therefore, we need to work through the performance criteria in order to make an assessment in relation to whether or not there is sufficient means for that particular access onto Cambridge Road to meet the requirements of the as assessed by the performance criteria. And so on page 10, it goes through that, and council's engineers are satisfied that the potential increase in vehicular traffic from the proposed development is considered minor and would not have any unreasonable impact. So they have been addressed in relation to that. But I have a question, Mr Mayor, and I did flag that as prior to the meeting. And if we, Mr Lovell, as Manager of Planning, if you could turn to the attachment, which is on page 14 or on the reverse side of page 13. And it seems to me that if we look at Darry Street and where that basically entrance into the site, is that able to handle any additional traffic, or is it basically just providing parking with regard to the development? I just would like just some explanation, if he can provide that to myself and probably to my colleagues, as to whether or not there is a possibility of additional traffic to the site via Darry Street, and therefore the additional or the 20% increase onto Cambridge Road could be somewhat absorbed by Darry Street usage of traffic movements.
Through Mr Mayor, no, the access is entirely from Cambridge Road.
Thank you. Alderman Mulder.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, that was the point, and I thank Richard for raising it. If you look at the plans, the Darry Street access is purely has got trees and lumps in front of it, and it's a huge opportunity. You could have ingress from Cambridge Road and egress through Darry Street, and that would take a lot of difficulties out of there. But the proponents have chosen not to do it, and we're not in a position to alter their amendments. But it is a lost opportunity.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Alderman Blomley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, like the mover, Alderman Pearce, I too think this is a first-class development, and it's wonderful to see more of these types of upgrades occur throughout our city. I just had a question through you, Mr Mayor, to Mr Lovell. I note that there was an extension, we saw an extension to the statutory 40-day period, which the applicant agreed to. Just wondering why that was. Was there a requirement for additional information, or was there insufficient resources or time for council to consider the application as submitted?
Through Mr Mayor, no, the only reason that it was required was to come to this special meeting of the council because developments over $10 million, whether they're representations or not, are required to, in accordance with council policy, to come to the council meeting. And so the extra delay, if you like, in order to get to this meeting required an extension of time.
That's great. Thank you, Mr Lovell. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Any other speakers? A right of reply, Alderman Pearce.
Thank you, Mayor. Like the last couple of aldermen have mentioned, I've went to Darry Street and had a look myself to see if anything can be done, but it is a narrow street, so probably not. But look, 61 new beds, car park, landscaping, $20 million spent on it. I think it's a great asset for the city, Mayor, and I hope we can pass this unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. So the recommendation is for approval, subject to conditions and advice. All those in favour, please raise your electronic hands. I have 12 in favour, which is unanimous, so I declare the motion carried and declare the meeting closed. If you could close the feed, please.
You got the time wrong, Beth.